Welcome into the PHNX Sun Devil Show on this fine Flavoring Fridays. Tasty, tasty, tasty. I love Flavoring Fridays. Do you like Flavoring Fridays?
It's probably my favorite day of the week.
Shout out to OG's Brands, the official sponsor of Flavoring Fridays. OG's is not just your average cannabis-infused gummy. They absolutely knock it out of the park when it comes to flavor, and their effects of their gummies are a total slam dunk too. Head over to ogsbrands.com to see their full lineup, including their two newest gummies, the OG's Naturals and the Big OG's, and find out where you can purchase. How's everybody doing? I'm Shane. I'm not going to call you the fish keeper.
You're not?
No, this is Erik Ruby. This is a hat man.
I'm a man who should be taken seriously.
Yeah,
with
we're
this hat.
day 3.
Yes. Show number 3. We got the counter up on there. We're getting there. I do have a disclaimer. I don't think SB is in the chat right now, but I won't be on the show Monday, so we're going to have to figure out how I'm going to make up for that.
I might have to put the hat on.
You might have to.
Actually, I might be doing the show from home, so Totri might have to put that on.
That's fair. I think it would look even funnier on Totri.
Yeah.
But once again, if you want to figure out how you could be entered for a chance to win a free Die Hard membership, which is the reason why I'm wearing this hat for this entire month, you can listen to the audio-only episode Totri and I have going out tomorrow. Right at the beginning of it, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. Super easy. Get yourself a free Die Hard membership. Join our Discord. Get all of our fun perks. But
and if you can't wait,
just do it anyway.
Just become a Die Hard.
Yeah.
Just become a Die Hard right now. We got a lot of stuff to talk about and a lot of mass to talk about, a lot of size to talk about.
Beef.
Because there's been a trend in ASU recruits that I don't think can go under the radar because there's no way you can miss it.
The radar will pick it up.
There's a lot of size. I mean, it starts off with their most recent commit, Rob Lapuaho. Is what I'm going to go with. That's the one thing that's hard about these commits coming from high school is that there's no pronunciation guide yet. But that's what we're going to go with. A 6'6", 330-pound tackle from Salt Lake City, the number 13 player in Utah, number 76 offensive lineman in 2025, according to 247, had offers from Utah, Oak State, ISU, and Boston College. That is Iowa State, not Illinois State. Beef.
Lots of beef. I said this yesterday. We were talking about Makai, but building a football team and building a football team that you want to stay healthy starts and ends the offensive line. And if you want to implement all the different strategies that our Sweet Prince Kenny, not Sweet Prince Kenny in the chat, but Kenny Dillingham wants to implement and wants to employ for this upcoming season, obviously for years going forward, you need to have time.
Yes.
You need to have time in the pocket. You need to have time for your running back to decide whether they want to go left or right up the middle or around somebody. And that's something that for a variety of reasons, especially ones out of their control last season, the Sun Devils could not bank on. So I am all for get as much size, as much mass as humanly possible up on that front line.
Yeah, the offensive line, obviously, it's probably more of an emphasis this year than others because of what happened last year. When you think of just the amount of freak injuries that happened last year to this offensive line, we've pounded it consistently. Like, you need a consistent group to go out there over and over again on the offensive line. And I feel like that's probably more of an emphasis, but it's also an emphasis on Saga and getting the pipeline that he wants, the Polynesian pipeline, and just these guys that he knows are going to work out, because you can't teach size.
No.
That's not something you teach. That's something you can mold, but you can't teach size. You can teach strength. You can teach mass to some extent, but you don't teach 6'6", 330.
No.
As a senior in high school, you just don't do that.
No, you can't do that. And I think another thing that you can't teach, I think sometimes it can be built, but you can't teach, it's camaraderie. And when you talk about the Polynesian pipeline and when you talk about offensive line in general, size is the number one thing, right? Like, size does matter. And having big beef guys up there, but also it is a mental game in those lines as well. It's not simply just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop the other side. It's what's the person next to me going to do? How am I going to work with them? How are we going to stop this defensive front depending on how they line up? And if you are on the same page, if you are thinking the same thing and liking and loving the guys that you're next to, that offensive line is going to be a lot stronger. Yeah. So that Polynesian pipeline, like, it's not just a tagline. It's something that can pay legitimate dividends because guys are going to trust each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And just getting size in general has been a huge emphasis in this class. And you look at some of the competing sizes, we'll talk about it in a bit, but it's really exciting. Donald in the chat asking, do we think someone gets moved to guard? You right now you have in this year, probably not, but going into 2025, you have 2 tackles and 2 interior offensive linemen now. I wouldn't expect it. I think they want to keep their guys true to their size because 6'6", 330 is better utilized outside than inside, I would say. You want your stockier, beefier, move a little better on the guard side, but guys like 6'6" wide bases that can get out, you probably want to keep them more on the tackle. And as Danielle says, recruiting the power of friendship. You need to be together.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the thing as well, where word of mouth also spreads.
Yeah.
And as important as it is to have coaches like Saga get out there and to talk to people like Kenny, like Mons, like Iguano, it's also important that once they're done talking to whatever recruit, even if that specific player does not commit to Arizona State, that their friends or their fellow, like, because all these guys they know each other, right? Yeah. Like athletes know each other, especially modern athletes with social media and everything. Hey, I heard that you went to Arizona State. What was that like? Oh, do you like Kenny Dillingham? Oh, do you like Saga? Oh, do you like Mons? And even if you're not committing there, but to go, I felt like they genuinely cared about me. I felt like they were invested in what was best for me. And maybe that isn't ASU right now. But then that player hears that. And then they tell the next person, man, I heard there's a lot of really good stuff going over there in Tempe. And that word of mouth, especially within communities that are already so tight-knit, like the Polynesian community, like the Texas to Tempe pipeline as well, that is something that is going to be a slow burn over the years. But that's part of the reason why even now you're seeing massive, massive, massive success on the recruiting side for a program that on paper, like, this should not be happening.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really exciting looking forward to 2025. And there is another 2024 transfer that transferred in that we'll get to later in the show. But looking at 2025 and looking at this offensive lineman class, what if I told you that Rob, being 6'6", 330, isn't the tallest nor the largest in this class? Let's go ahead and look at these 4 offensive linemen as a whole. Matai Jefferson, 6'4", 350.
What a unit.
Yeah.
6'4", 350 is nuts.
350 is ridiculous. Maki Stewart, 6'6", 290. Alema Ayusua, 6'7", 292. And, of course, Rob Lapuahu, who we just talked about, 6'6", 330. Do you notice a trend here?
They're all really big and they're all really big. They're tall and they're wide.
Yeah. And so that is just such a fun, it's like, and it's not like ASU is going out of the way not to recruit size, but it's so fun to see a recurring trend and something that this recruiting staff is going after on the offensive line. And obviously it seems like the obvious thing to do. Like, go get the big guy, but it's not the easiest thing to do.
It's not the easiest. And also a lot of the times what we think is the obvious thing to do is not what people do.
Yeah.
Right. And we come up here and we bang the table, man, we think they're doing it right at ASU. We think they're building right. And look, you're now getting some of the results and you're talking about these highly recruited prospects coming in here and choosing Arizona State. But it's not just the stars. Right? It's not just, what's your national ranking? It's also what can we mold you into? What are your building blocks? And one of the first things you said is you can't teach size. So to find people that you believe in, that you know that their size, if you get them in your doors in Tempe with your strength and conditioning and your coaching, it doesn't matter if they're a low 3-star, right? Compared to a high 3-star, because that range is so wide.
Yeah.
You can mold them and turn them into whatever you want them to, as long as they have the mindset, which I guarantee you, and I this is never something that I will waver from. There is no chance in hell that this staff is going to recruit anybody and actually have them come here that does not want to be here.
You know who's licking his chops right now, though? Is Saga, because somebody mentioned it in the chat. He's had really good offensive lines in the past, and obviously that comes because of where he was before at West Point. He was a coach at Army. You think they like running the ball? You think they like mixing up in the trenches? Like that is such an identity they want ASU football to have. That is the ASU football. One of the things Kenny mentioned, and when we were talking about this earlier, or we're talking to him earlier this spring, was the some guys dropping and some guys gaining weight, and the how that's going to help them and why they did that. And one of the things they mentioned was Cam Scadaboo dropping weight. And the reason why they wanted him to do that was because they didn't have as many explosive runs as they would want to. And Cam will, Scad will give somebody a truck whenever he wants, but he couldn't get to that next level. And that's not an indictment on Scad. It's just the archetype of a player he was.
Yeah.
This year, they want him to be a more explosive guy, and more explosive guys don't get explosive plays without big holes.
Right.
And that is what's exciting is this team trying to find an identity. I am such a sucker for a team that establishes the run early.
Yeah.
And ASU football has not been a team that could do that in a couple 3-4 years. The last time I remember that is when they had a 1-2 duo with Rashad White and Chip Trainman, and even then, it was more of a pass catching backfield. This is exciting.
No, absolutely, and you're right with the whole scat thing as well. You don't feel confident in telling him to lose some weight and to try to be more explosive if you think that he's going to get hit behind the line of scrimmage every time.
That's a great point.
Right? You're not going to tell somebody, we want you to be faster and quicker and more dynamic. And even if you look at the running backs that they have gotten either in the transfer portal or through recruiting, you don't look at like a near fullback type, someone that's just going to go and bash your brains and even looking like a Raleek Brown, right? Like those types of weapons, that stuff, it's not that it doesn't work if you don't have an offensive line, but it's just taken to such a next level when your quarterback, whoever it might be, right now it's going to be Sam most likely, but you never know. And you don't know if they're going to add anybody, but whatever's going on there doesn't matter as much as what's going on right in front of them.
Yeah.
Because quarterbacks who aren't as great look a lot better when there's a really good offensive line. Yeah. Like you look at what Washington did on their way to the college football playoffs and everything last year. They had the best offensive line in the country.
Yeah.
And it's part of the reason why PHNX looked so good.
Exactly.
It was because he was just protected all the time.
So many people also, like being close to ASU football, ball knowers will say, you throw a lot of the offensive player stats away from last year because of how unique the circumstances were. They had, was it 8+ scholarship linemen go down at some point?
It was basically like every other player
during the year. I think the total, 9 scholarship linemen went down at some point last year and multiple for the season. That doesn't happen. That's not a normal thing that happens in college football. And knock on wood, you hope that it averages out, and this year they can stay relatively healthy, because you're not going to stay completely healthy, especially in an offensive line room. That's one of the most vulnerable positions in football because of how much they're mixing it up in the trenches and their weights and everything. But you could throw a lot of the offensive stats away last year, and the fact that some of these guys were able to garner the amount of yards they were behind an offensive line that was so banged up and misfitty.
Yep.
You get a good group, a well-coached group, an athletic group, a improved group, a group that is now going to learn from, one, their mistakes, but two, from their leader in Lee Fautanu, who is arguably the best center in the Big 12 and the top 10 in the country. That's what gets me excited about next year. That's what gets me hyped about. I don't care who Kenny throws out at quarterback, because I know that they're going to have a better shot at getting the ball away and getting it to the playmakers on this team than last year. Because so many times last year it was just get the ball to Badge. Just get the ball to Scat and let them go. And they couldn't even do that.
No, they couldn't. And not only can you throw the actual on paper numbers for a lot of offensive players out, when you talk about coaching and you talk about some of the stuff that Kenny tried to pull off, you have to imagine that he knew he was handcuffed by a certain censor because of sheerly the amount of injuries, not just to the offensive line, but a main part of it, but the quarterback room as well. Having all of that and to still overcome and to put together some of the performances they had. I mean, I know we joke about it, but Scat and Conyers were quarterbacks for a large portion of last season.
Yeah. Just look at the UCLA game. Look at how weird they played that UCLA game. Think about that. That was a moment where Kenny was like, I don't know what to do anymore. We can't play traditional football. We have to get creative. We have to be weird. Yeah. We have to run a T-bone. We have to put a running back at quarterback, because our offensive line isn't healthy enough to play football at the Division I level. We have to beat them with chess. And that's what they did. If Kenny doesn't have to play chess and can just play fun, aired out football, and be unique, and he knows that a guard can pull his left tackle, and there can be a swing screen, and you can be confident that if the swing's to the right and that left guard, left tackle will pick up the blitzers that the guys are leaving. That's exciting football. That's what I'm stoked for. Is you don't have to rely on guys that probably shouldn't be playing right now.
Yeah, and you don't have to rely almost like at a certain point.
Couldn't kick field goals, as Sharon says.
Right, yeah, you couldn't kick field goals. Your offense got almost gimmicky of sorts, but not in an indictment on Kenny, but in a necessity way. Yeah. And that's an indictment on what happened overall. Things completely out of their control for sure, but the entire season. Right? Mm-hmm. Like you were getting put in positions that were so bad, and not even just, hey, like on the field, like, hey, right before your season, I know that maybe a lot of fans weren't expecting bowl eligibility, but we're pulling that right out from the rug from underneath you. Like it was such a stacked deck against succeeding at all last year. And the fact that we can even look back and say, hey, that could be built upon, that could be built upon, that could be built upon is massive. But at the end of the day, when you circle back to it, last season would look 10 times different if they had half the amount of injuries on the offensive line. It doesn't even necessarily turn into actual wins. The wins might stay the same, but the way that those games went down, the way that they had to approach everything, and the way that it was coached, completely different. If you had 3 guys on that line who were consistent, healthy, and trusted each other, and like you said, with depth, like we're talking about multiple guys who are massive. Right? We're talking about big dudes, and we're talking about depth because somebody's going to get injured. And it sucks. And maybe ASU has the first season ever where no football player ever gets injured. But it's going to happen. Yeah. But it simply is far-fetched for it to happen on that level again. So it's exciting to think, okay, Kenny's going to have a more even playing field, a better, more complete roster, and his second year here and actually implementing his system. It's really exciting.
And it's good to look at it like, yeah, this shouldn't be where they were last year. Like you won't have this injury, but this injury bug, and you won't have this looming investigation over you. But looking at it, rewinding a little bit, looking at it there, back-to-back 3-9 seasons, leadership or lack thereof at the athletic director position, a recruiting scandal that's still over your head, and you know what? You go out and produce a top 20 class in the country, down to number 14, the number 1 class in the Big 12, and they're still not done yet. It's really exciting, and it's really exciting to see some of the actual statistics next to these names and not just the star rating. You're looking at their height, you're looking at their weight, you're looking at their potential. And again, the reason why I'm hammering this home so much is because they saw the mistakes, and not even mistakes, they saw their shortcomings from last year, and they went out and sought not replacements, but reliability and insurance, and this staff just gets it. They know, and also you're going to lose a lot of guys to graduation this year. You're going to lose your leader on the offensive line, and you hope guys step up. So it's really exciting. This offensive line is in a good place, and I'm always in a good place when I'm scrolling the app.
What app?
BetMGM.
Oh,
dude, I found it cash cow, and Chad, I gave this out on bets yesterday. But listen to this: Terrence Mann on Wednesday, his rebound total was 4.5 at plus 115. Snagged it immediately. Threw 20 spot on it. Was like, I love this. He's going to try really hard. They can't lose this game. No Kawhi. Like, he's going to get more playing time. Goes out and gets 7. Easy. Okay. Easy. Like, not even close. Didn't even sweat. Tonight, guess what his rebound total is set at?
3.5.
3.5. Minus 155.
I nailed that.
Go get that right now. You might have to pay the piper a little bit, but go get that right now. You can get that right now over at BetMGM. Our friends at BetMGM have the best app for sports betting, and there are so many fun things you can do right now, including their MLB's Grand Slam Jackpot, which is a weekly bet and get promotion where you can place $10 or more on any player to hit a home run every weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And if that player hits a Grand Slam on that day, you can win a split of $50,000 daily prize and share the prize with other people that bet on that player. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android, or visit BetMGM.com. Sign up and deposit at least $10 into your BetMGM Sportsbook account. Place your first wager and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if that bet loses. And if the bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. Again, sign up for BetMGM. Use bonus code PHNX. Place that first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the BetMGM mobile app for at least $10, and you'll receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your bet loses. Check out the show notes for full details, and now listen to me talk about the disclaimer. Bonus bets expire in 7 days. One new customer offer only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY, 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, North Carolina, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Pugs! Where have you been? Did you go on a bus trip too? When's the last time you saw Pugs in here?
I think he was asking where you were right before you came back.
Wow. Pugs, it's good to see you. Thank you. You're looking good too. Been a while.
It's a good day.
It is a good day.
It's a great day.
It's a great day. It's a flavoring Friday.
It's a flavoring Friday.
It's a first Friday. It's a first flavoring Friday.
It's a first flavoring Friday. You want a first Friday today?
I was thinking about it. I'm not sure. I have a couple buddies in town that are out in Old Town right now, so I'm going to try to convince them to come up here, but we'll see.
It's always a good time. And if you want to just walk around, sometimes crowds can get you stressed out. First Friday is massive now, like 10 times bigger than it was like 3 years ago. So maybe you want to take a little OGs just to mellow you out, walk around, look at all the great products out there. And speaking of great products, OGs are simply the best. I have been loving OGs since way before I started working here, way before we were on Flavoring Friday time. OGs is simply just the best tasting, the best feeling scratch-made gummy here in Arizona. And they have 2 new products made with live rosin and RSO. That's the OGs Naturals, which Shane pointed at me, so I guess I'm vegan. Mm-hmm. And then the Big OGs, which is Shane, because he's a big OG. The Naturals are vegan gummies, like I mentioned before. I like to call them the Chris Paul gummies. And the Big OGs is get this, big OGs, perforated into 10 different slices of 10 milligrams each. Whether you're trying to get some help sleeping, whether you're trying to enjoy a movie a little bit more, whether you have some anxiety when you go out and you just need something to chill you out a little bit, they have the OGs minis for that as well. I know people who get it for back pain. I know I have some back pain of my own as well that OGs helps me out with. It's truly versatile. OGs is. And if you want to figure out where you can find them and just learn more about them in general, go to ogsbrands.com. There's one catch, and that is that you have to be 21 or over to enjoy. But trust me, you will enjoy our friends over at OGs.
Yeah, you will. We got some transfer news to talk about. We love that. We got a potential transfer and someone who is transferring in Texas to Tempe pipeline, but not the state, the school. UT got a 6'4", 282-pound edge rusher. Zach Swanson is transferring to ASU. How are we feeling?
I'm feeling great. Totri and I dove into him a little bit yesterday. Couple different things. Hey, the Texas to Tempe thing is kind of funny.
Yeah, it is.
Because this is your third player now on the defensive side of the ball that's coming from
second on the line.
Yeah, second on the line. But to me, it's more in line with the Cole Martin side of things, where you're taking somebody who was very, very highly touted here in the state of Arizona, was the number 5 recruit in the state when he left here at Brophy. And then he comes home. And he comes home because, sure, maybe things weren't working out that great where he left to, but he saw ASU as a place to be comfortable, and a place to almost revive his career a little bit and get back to where he wanted to. And I think that type of safe haven is extremely attractive for players who do end up leaving the state. Yeah. And for Kenny and the staff, you're not going to get every single local player to commit here. That's just not how it works. But as some of the top talent that goes elsewhere knows that, hey, if stuff doesn't work out and you feel like you just need a place that wants to invest in you in the best way possible, that's what we're here for. That's what I'm seeing with guys like Zach Swanson. Plus, he's just big. Yeah. Which I like.
Yeah, for sure. So as we said, 6'4", 282, was at Brophy here, and he's an edge guy. He's listed as just D-line, but he's an edge guy. He's got a lot of different moves. He can do a lot of different things. He was really dominant in high school and redshirted, and then his redshirt freshman year basically got no playing time, appeared in one game, but he's got so much potential, and that's what's so exciting about some of these guys that they're bringing in. And you can correct the mistakes that this prior staff made, like not getting a guy like this, and you can correct the mistakes that you guys maybe made by getting them back here. Mm-hmm. And this is a case of the former. You're not losing sight of what you want. You want guys to stay home, and Kenny has said, like, They will just want guys who want to be here and guys who want to play ball and love ball.
Yeah.
But there's still an emphasis on keeping the guys home in Arizona. I also love that hashtag Save the City.
Hashtag Save the City so hard.
It's hard.
Like
it's
Activate
so
the Valley is good. And
Activate the Valley is perfect.
Right.
But
Save the City is so hard.
It's menacing.
And honestly, man, like, yeah, you want, if it's a local guy, sure, you can maybe add a little extra points on that. You want to keep your local guys home, but he is not just here because he was from the state of Arizona and highly recruited in high school. I mean, this guy's a beast. He is a beast, and he is going to get a good amount of playing time here. I would say the two words when I look at his film that I would associate with him is ferocious and relentless, because he looks at the guy in front of him and he does not give a crap.
Yeah.
He says, I'm going to move you and I'm going to get to the quarterback. And there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it.
Yeah. And he's got really good size, as we said.
Yeah.
But when you're a guy who is athletic, but not so gifted athletically where you don't really have to have any moves, you got to develop a lot of things. And he has a wide array of moves for an edge rusher. And that's exciting. But again, it's not just a position that, you know, it'd be nice to have some depth. It's a position that you needed some depth.
Right.
At. And again, the staff is recognizing that. So good to get a guy like Zach Swanson on this roster and improve a defensive line that really needed something like this. And I would expect him to be a huge part of this defensive line in 2024.
And kind of something that you had mentioned with the beef and stuff before, and we're talking about this staff and everything. I think just the term, they get it, is so perfect and all encompassing for why there's so much confidence around a staff
and undervalued.
Exactly. Like it's perfect. It's perfect because every move that they've made, every way that they have handled a situation since Kenny Dillingham has walked through that door, it's just made sense.
Yeah.
They just get it. They're doing the right things. Yeah. They're not burning bridges with people who are leaving and people who are transferring, whether it's a coach or whether it's a player, whether they know about it beforehand or they don't. They handle it with grace, unlike some other Big 12 programs. And that's going to, A, help them in the future, and B, help them right now.
Yeah. And if you're an SEC football fan, you're like, well, duh, excuse me. Well, duh, you got to do that if we're gonna win football games. But we're not ASU. We're not in the SEC. We're ASU.
Right. And it's different.
And in the past 5 to 10 years, it hasn't been the most obvious thing. And that's you just kind of want to shake this program and the leaders and be like, hey, do the thing that looks obvious. Bring the guy here that you want. Bring the guy that makes sense. And that hasn't always been the case. So it's exciting to just know that they're at least doing the minimum and the baseline and exceeding through that and punching through it, because they get it.
Yeah, and it's not just like, hey, like, okay, they got that situation right. They did that one thing right. No, like, you can list off everything. You're like, okay, they've handled that situation right. They've addressed their needs. They navigated through an awful season full of injuries and doubt and outside noise when it comes to people who aren't even associated with the program anymore. They dealt with all of that with grace. And that's not something that every coaching staff can do. And that's not something that people can come off of and have a top 15 recruiting class in the nation after that. I mean, people were burying this program last year, and that's simply not what's going to happen in the future. And that's because they're getting guys like Zach Swanson. That's because they're building that offensive line and they're getting that beef. It's the reason why it matters is because it wasn't there for a long time. And if it was there, then we'd be sitting here like, yeah, sure, they're just doing what they need to do. And we'd like to see it continue. But
that's not the case.
Yeah, it's like when you've been like, it's like if you're just eating like a normal meal, right? Let's say like an average of 5 out of 10 meal. On a normal day, you're not that hungry, but you need to eat your 5 out of 10 meal. It's a 5 out of 10. You haven't eaten in 2 weeks. That 5 out of 10 meal comes up.
Smack.
That's a 10 out of 10 meal.
It's gonna smack. Steven in the chat saying it would be interesting to look at the first or the few Arizona classes and see who are now at ASU as transfers. Well, let's do it. You got Cole Martin. You got Jake Smith. You got Bram Walden. You got Zach Swanson now. You got Tristan Monday. You got Crew Jackson. You got DeCarlos Brooks. You got Tate Romney. Cartman has a tweet that names all of these guys. Number 1 in 2021, Bram Walden. Number 2 in 2019, Jake Smith. Number 4, and these are all Arizona rankings. In number 2023 or in 2023, Cole Martin. Number 5, Zach Swanson in 2022. Like, they recognize that and they got these guys back. Tony says we need a running back. He's obviously talking about U of A. We got some to spare, but we're not going to give any to you. ASU has some to spare, but they're not going to give any to you.
And I mean, you're still looking at somebody.
They might give you a wide receiver, but One thing I want to talk about, and this is just strictly for me, so I'm going to be a little selfish here. Please. I haven't been able to talk about Jeff Sims because I haven't been on the show.
Here, floor's yours, bud.
Why not? Why not? What's your stance on this?
I was kind of the same way. It's like when the news first hit, I was like, I'm going to throw up in my mouth a little bit.
But why?
But because he's just so turnover prone, and you're like, how is he actually going to help this program? Okay. But at the end of the day, he's not going to be your starter. He's probably not going to be your first string backup.
Did you guys talk about Bo Nix yet, though?
Yes, we know Bo Nix, when he was under Kenny Dillingham, completely turned his career around. Jeff Sims is not Bo Nix.
Dude, Bo Nix was pretty bad.
I know, Auburn. But he wasn't that bad.
He wasn't a first-round pick by any means.
No, but that's... I get what you're saying, and that's part of the reason why I'm like, it's fine, because he's not taking anybody else's spot. He's not coming in and starting immediately. It's an okay gamble, but I'm not like, wow, woohoo, Jeff Sims, let's go. I just can't. Just no thanks.
I'm kind of excited.
And that's you can be excited if you want. I'm not mad. I'm not excited.
Okay, let me put it this way. If you looked at a player profile with a silhouette of Jeff Sims and you saw, let me get his measurables up. 6'4", 220, ran however fast he can run, and has a cannon arm, and then saw the turnovers, you would still be like, oh yeah, let's bring him in. That's why not it. But he's just got this stigma, and he played at the University of Nebraska. You know how many turnovers quarterbacks would have that were at better schools than the University of Nebraska if they went to Nebraska? A lot more. They don't know how to run offense very well. And I know he coughed the ball up. Dude loved to fumble. Dude made some pretty bad passes. But the thing that excites me is not the intangibles, the things you can't really teach, and that's arm strength. That's raw arm talent. And he has that, and he also has size and athleticism. So it's a total why not. It doesn't matter if he slots into the third string quarterback on this roster, second string quarterback, and if he slots into the first string quarterback, you know what that means? That they see something. And as I've said so many times,
or something terrible happened.
Okay, well, let's not think that way. And it's the things I've said so many times on the show is I trust this staff, and you can't take that for granted right now, because you've had a staff in the past multiple years that you couldn't say that with, and you can say that now. So if they want to throw him out week one, I'm going to trust it.
Okay, you're right in that the staff has earned my faith, and they have earned my trust, and I do not mind. It is a total why not.
Yeah,
a total why not, and I agree with you on there.
Jeff Sims.
Oh, man, that's a little too far. That's a little too far from me. It's a little too far from me. But I get what you're saying with the why not. I get what you're saying with the trust the staff. I don't disagree with any of that.
All I'm saying is there's only good news that could come out of this. Because if he's starting, that is great news. But you can't think that way. You can't think that way. Donald in the chat saying, watch your mouth, saying we could give them a wide receiver. I didn't say could. I said might. It might happen. And that's the reality of it. You guys talked about it that way. And I know he's no bueno. I get it. But a lot of the people that come in here saying that have heard Mike Luke talk about him for the last 3 weeks because he just loves speaking on him. Guys, I get the turnover issues, and I get all that. I 100% understand. But it's the raw talent that excites me. Some more raw talent that excites me that didn't really show much production. Raymond Cottrell. I'm going to go with Cottrell.
Cottrell sounds good.
Was at Texas A&M and then Kentucky for a very short stint. 6'3", 210, top 40 wide receiver in the 2021 class. Will officially visit ASU. And he's a top 100 wide receiver transfer. Obviously, no production to really look at.
Yeah.
But potential. All about potential.
Again, it's another sure. I think that when you're playing the transfer portal game, especially when most of the people who are looking to transfer usually are coming from situations where it didn't really work out for them that much, you do have to bet on the potential side of things. And this plays into your Jeff Sims argument to where I trust this staff to identify players who have been misutilized or underutilized or undervalued and say, what can you do with us? Oh, you could do that. We can use you. We can use your frame. We can use your certain skill set like nobody else has. So He's a little bit of a bigger guy. He's probably going to be used for some of those tougher catches, maybe get a little yak in there. But I am saying the more the merrier. I think wide receiver is one of the deepest rooms on this team, but you just lost your best one. So why not add somebody who could contribute something?
Yeah, Eric, I know Mike watches every Nebraska game. He called me the night that it was leaked that they were interested in Jeff Sims, but again, potential. Yeah. Talking about Raymond, it's a guy who just oozes potential. I mean, the size on this guy, such a prototypical X receiver, 6'3", 210. As I said, a 4-star prospect coming out of high school, a top 50 player in the state of Florida, which produces a lot of good talent, especially at the receiver position. It would be a total why not, because again, this is a position group in the wide receiver room where you can afford to just take chances on guys, because your top 4 guys compete with a lot of players in the Big 12.
Yeah, and you're also not a program right now that can like turn your nose at potential,
exactly.
Right? And I think for as happy as we are with this roster and what the staff has done with it, even the rooms that are deep, the running back room, the wide receiver room, like we look at those rooms, you can say, you know what? Maybe they don't necessarily need something, but you're not at a place where you're like, no, don't need it. No.
Kenny is, as I've said, he plays the closest thing to positionless football you can play.
True.
Like, even if a guy, like, let's say you bring in a 6'7" wide receiver that doesn't separate or move very well, or a tight end, Marcuston Douglas is a good example. He looks like a guy that's going to be used for very specific things. Big body, can block, but also is utilized in the pass catching game. Kenny loves using guys to their strengths specifically. So even if a guy is not in every snap, if he plays 2-3 snaps a game, he's utilized for a specific reason. And so bringing in guys that can do a variety of things is a thing Kenny loves to do. You guys talked about Keon Graves, right?
Yeah, we did.
On the show the other day. That would be really fun.
I mean, that's another guy where if you're talking about like coming in and being an immediate difference maker, I think he's somebody that you could imagine that happening. And he adds on to the list a very highly touted prospect from the state of Arizona coming back home. And to be honest with you, I did not think like a year ago. I always believed from the moment that I heard Kenny Dillingham speak, I believed in Kenny Dillingham. But I did not think that at this point, this far in, I'd be so confident that it's like, you know what, that could happen. Yeah, it could happen. Like a guy like that,
the
blue chip prospect, like not like, you know, it would be great if, ooh, how amazing would it be if, but like, you know what? That's actually a realistic possibility. It's not just lip service. And he is a good example of that. Zach Swanson. We put a poll. Who would you rather have? Zach Swanson actually ended up winning, right?
Yeah,
and ASU got that guy. But Keon Graves would be an incredible addition to this roster.
Yeah, for sure. So, it's still in play. He's visiting some other schools, but he still hasn't made a decision. The portal is closed. It no longer can graduate transfers into the portal either, but players can still commit places because they're still in the portal. Yeah. So, it'd be exciting. But again, that's a room that you're not heartbroken.
You're not desperate, but it would be nice. And hopefully he doesn't go anywhere else unsavory. But I can tell you about a place that's not unsavory. In fact, it's very savory. Desert Financial Credit Union.
I thought you were going some more food, but
no, I wasn't.
That's fine. I mean,
because sink your teeth into this. Oh, you can buy some food with some free money, and I can get you $200. You can save your $200 because you can just open up. Danielle's so mad right now. You can put me in producer timeout, Danielle. It's okay. But you can get $200 for free by opening up a checking account online with Desert Financial Credit Union. For more than 84 years, DFCU has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community, aka me, because I am now officially their #1 customer at Desert Financial Credit Union. No, not actually.
I think Craig might have something to say about that.
Yeah, Craig's been around as well. But basically the only place I've ever put my money, only place I've ever trusted, it does a financial credit union. And that is not on this ad read. That is real life facts. Also real life facts, you can get 3 different Arizona State University designed Visa debit cards today and $200 for free right in your checking account when you open that up online. Figure out how to get all of this plus more at desertfinancial.com/ASU.
Love it. That was kind of crazy that you just claimed yourself as the #1.
I like them. That's how much I like them. They don't have to claim me, but I claim them.
If you think that you're the #1 customer, that's fine. You can't say you are.
I'll tell you what, if we're basing it off of the pure number of transactions and how much is in each transaction, I am certainly not. I am not anywhere close to their number one customer.
Yeah, Craig definitely has you beat.
Well, definitely there. Maybe number one fan.
Yeah.
How about that? I'm their number one fan.
Speaking of number ones, Mike Luke did a Circle K power ranking.
Which is incredible.
Which is crazy. I can't believe Max let him do that. I'm just going to power rank Circle K's right now. Number one. Circle K is just number one. They're America's thirst shop, and they have a new free membership program. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Save 3 cents per gallon every single day. And, you know, we love their Polar Pops. You can get any size if you're a Circle K member for just 69 cents. Nice through September 3rd. Find it in the Circle K app under Inner Circle and offers. And yeah, guys, Circle K is such a great place to be when it comes to refueling not only your car but yourself. You know what I fell in love with again this weekend? Gummy bears. God, I love gummy bears. Oh my goodness, I'm the gummy king. Yeah, I know they have great gummy bears. Their gummy bears are elite here. God, I just want you gotta put this back because I'm gonna eat the whole thing. I get tummy aches from the amount of gummy bears I eat. That's not an indictment on Circle K. That's any brand of gummy bears. Those Circle K gummy bears, not only are they the best bang for your buck, they're also the best bang for your taste buds. Guys, download the Circle K app. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading it today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. We got Hot or Not coming up in a second. Leave a like. 20 likes and we'll start Hot or Not. I'm going to put Hot or Not in jail.
Wow.
I'm going to put Hot or Not in like jail.
Oh my gosh, Donald might make a bunch of burners.
I'm gonna put Hot or Not.
God, it's so close.
In like jail.
There's definitely enough of you in here. Yeah. There's more than enough of you.
Can we get Bobby Hurley to ask them to leave a like, or is that not on here?
Leave the freaking like, man.
Leave the freaking like.
Leave the freaking like. I want to do this Hot or Not.
Yeah. So that's in Hot or Not jail until we get 20 likes. I have a question for you.
Okay, you told me you had a great question for me, and so I'm very prepared right now.
Ethics aside.
Oh my God. What a start. What a start.
The Kentucky Derby is this weekend.
Okay.
What would you like to see race? Animal-wise.
Animal-wise?
Ethics aside.
Ethics
Don't think
aside.
about the logistics of training them or whatnot. Ethics aside, your favorite animal you'd love to see race in a
I just have to choose one
Kentucky
animal.
Derby style race. Chat, get in on this too.
Ooh, kangaroos. Kangaroos.
It's a great answer. I think there's a market that hasn't been tapped in on.
Okay.
Aquatic races for animals.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it hasn't been tapped in on because it's unethical, but be nice.
But if ethics aside,
there was a place, an unnamed place in the Tempe area.
In our little zoo tycoon world over here.
There's a real place in college that I went to in the Tempe area that some people might know about that had goldfish races where you could get a free like $50 tab or $25 tab if your goldfish won a race. I never participated in this, so don't get mad at me. But the way you would make the goldfish race is they would have a lane and you would squirt behind them. And so they would go forward. And that was a real place in Tempe that you could go to. So I think aquatics would be the number one. Ethics aside.
Like dolphin racing?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Would be awesome. Silverbacks, David says.
Silverbacks would be good. Elephant racing would be good. Sweet Prince Kenny. Blue sharks.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious one is like a cheetah.
That's like too basic, though.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they're just right.
Also, Chris isn't saying a blue shark race. He's saying the blue shark gummies.
Oh.
Yeah, we talked about those the other day. Those are great.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, orangutans, any monkey would be good.
That's true. That's true.
Chat, we're at what, 18 likes?
Yeah,
we need 2 more
guys.
likes to do Hot or Not, so we're not going to do it. We're just going to keep talking about other things.
Some
Are you a big
show can
Kentucky
wait.
Derby guy? Do you ever bet on it?
No, I'm not.
I love it because I love just like seeing a fun am and being like, yep, they're winning. They're winning.
I mean, I do like the names.
Yeah.
I'm a big
Do you
fan
know
of
how
different-
horses are named? The race horses are named. They're usually
No.
a combination between the filly and the, what's the horse's
Somebody took
name?
away a like.
What's the man horse's name? That's not a colt, right? No, colt's the baby.
Brie? Wait, what?
There's a filly and what's the other one?
I don't know. I'm
Okay,
not a horse
it's the
guy.
man and it's the mama and the dad horse, and the name is a combination. So if the filly's racehorse's name was named like Red Dress, and the dad's name was like Licorice, it would be like Red Licorice. Isn't that cool?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought they just like looked at the horse.
Sometimes they just do name
it was
them
like
random.
that's a barf bag. That's barf bag.
That's crazy. That's a crazy one.
I think we should do hot or not. I know we still need a like.
We need how many more likes? We need one more like. I'll go like the video.
Sit here in silence.
I'll go like the video. Okay, we'll start on it. Danielle, first hot or not topic. What do we got?
Hello, friends.
Hi.
First hot or not topic. Totri and I, we're going to piggyback off of the animal topic. Totri and I yesterday talked a lot about this one certain thing. Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs, hot or not? How you feel about dinosaurs?
Okay, first of all, you're talking to the dinosaur guy. Like the dinosaur guy. There's a clip from the show, probably a year ago, where we did a dinosaur spelling bee, and I spelled everything right. I spelled, obviously pterodactyl's a tough one. Easily spelled that right. Compsognathus, easy.
Okay.
Easy. Like, I am the dinosaur guy. Dinosaurs are one of the hottest things to ever graze the planet.
I struggled to spell Ankylosaurus, so if you can give that a shot.
Ankylosaurus?
Let's do it. Ankylosaurus.
A-N. C-L?
Nope.
K-L.
No.
Ankylosaurus? A-N-C-H.
No. Okay, I got you. A-N-K-Y.
What the hell?
L-O-S.
That's
K-U-R-U-S.
Ankylosaurus. That's not a real one. I've never heard of that one. That's a fake one. You just made that up. That's a fake dino. Hot or not, dinos.
They're hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was pretty easy.
They're so cool.
Dinosaurs are
Show me a person who doesn't like a dino. I'll show you a liar.
It's true.
I'll show you. And if they're telling the truth, they're dumb.
Yeah.
Anybody in the chat not like dinos? Because I'm sorry if I called you dumb.
Guys.
Sharon with honey badger racing, that would go pretty hard.
Would go pretty hard.
Too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Too soon.
Next hot or not topic.
Next hot or not topic. Cinco de Mayo is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very divisive.
First of all, not Mexico's Independence Day, contrary to popular belief.
Absolutely not.
Not even a celebration, a remembrance of the battle when they beat France.
It's literally only a thing in one state in Mexico.
Yeah, and the U.S.
Yep, that's it. Anyways, how do we feel about sour cream?
Oh, well, creme fraiche is better. Sour cream is elite, though.
I'm judging you pretty hard on these answers, just so you know.
Ironically enough, from the man who looks like sour cream, I'm not a big sour cream fan. I don't hate it, but I don't think I like it enough to.
Do you like creme fraiche?
I don't even know what creme fraiche is. I'm getting the dirtiest looks right now.
Woo!
Where can I get me some creme fraiche?
You can make it.
Okay, how do I make it?
I don't know exactly what goes into it, but it's so much better than sour cream. Danielle, what are your thoughts?
Sour cream is an absolute not.
Yeah.
So my aunt was anytime we have sour cream, I can hear her. I can if I see sour cream somewhere, I always hear sour creams for gringos. So no, it is, if you were to have sour cream at any get together at my house or my family, Aunt Sarah would come for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No sour cream.
No creme fraiche either.
Nope.
Wow.
Nope.
Shocking.
Nope.
I love dairy. I can eat cheese by the boatload. I'm a huge Greek yogurt guy. Love Greek yogurt, fruit, and granola in the morning. And I also love to substitute sour cream for Greek yogurt. But I'm a huge sour cream guy. There's no way around it. So it's hot.
Can't say I'm a dairy fan.
Yeah. I'm a big dairy fan.
As someone who is lactose intolerant, I can't say I'm a big dairy fan.
There you go.
All right, last one because Eric's got to get out of here.
That is true.
May the 4th tomorrow. Star Wars, hot or not?
So just Star Wars.
Just Star Wars.
You can go first because I've gone first.
It's hot, but there are parts of it that's like, but it's hot.
I've never been a huge fan. Surprisingly, because I love whimsical things. I love sci-fi. I love Lord of the Rings. I love like almost all sci-fi movies. I've just never gotten into it, and I think that a lot of the products they've put out recently are pretty bad. The Mandalorian's good, like that. I
was a pretty big Star Wars person. I'm less high on it now, but it's still hot.
Yeah, I'll go with hot because people enjoy it. It's a cool thing, but
yeah, I love Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Rogue One, phenomenal. So good. Yeah, I love Star Wars.
Yeah.
You like Lord of the Rings?
Not really.
Guys, it's been a pleasure as always. You can follow me on Twitter at Shane Deef. You can follow Erik on Twitter at Erik Ruby, Erik with a K. You can follow Danielle on Twitter and all our socials at Abracadanielle. Yeah, just being a big dino guy as always. Until Monday. Watch
audio only episode tomorrow.
Listen to the audio only episode tomorrow. And until Monday, peace and go Devils.
We all silly like the mayor.